gorgeous and real. I mean, that's an expensive bouquet of flowers. So listen, it was a lovely weekend in the Catskills with the take. We talked about a lot, got to know each other.
Oh, God.
And we talked about things like, has a number one pick of a draft ever walked into a better situation than Caleb Williams with the Bears? We talked about how, while once upon a time, rookie quarterbacks, it was like, oh, you're starting a rookie, get ready for an awful season, and then hopefully, rebound in following years. That has not been the case, certainly with the frequency it was years ago. And we have seen in the last decade a lot of quarterbacks come close to breaking through and being a rookie to make the Super Bowl. Most notably, Bruce guy, Brock Purdy, just 2 years ago, was in the NFC Championship game. Bruce guy, C.J. Stroud, a year ago, a few months ago, was in the divisional round. And we also discussed how all of the other NFC contenders have major and all of a sudden more and more red flags. The defending NFC champion, San Francisco 49ers, their best player on their team, Trent Williams, is yet to show up to training camp. Their best wide receiver could be traded during this segment, for all we know. The Dallas Cowboys can't sign anyone on their team. The stories out of Philadelphia are about, do the coach and quarterback actually like each other? Does the coach even get to pick his own coaching staff? And there is still this fog of a supernatural funk hanging over the franchise, even though Brew is dismissing it. The Rams' best player retired. The Lions' kicker, unfortunately, got injured. And now we found out yesterday, Emmanuel Mosley got injured. So all of those things were reasons the Bears, to the Super Bowl take, just started looking more and more attractive. And then there is this, and which is why I feel the need, even though it is not predictions week, to make this declaration today. Because after tonight, there's going to be so many more suitors. Because after tonight, when the world gets to see Caleb Williams on Hard Knocks, when the only negative press he's gotten in months is he chastises his teammates about how clean the locker room is or isn't, I know what's going to happen by this time tomorrow. Everyone's going to be wanting to flirt with the Bears to the Super Bowl take. So I, like any wise man would, need to, metaphorically put a ring on the take to make sure everyone knows. Everyone knows where I stand and where we stand.
Officially going.
So I am here to say, after a long courtship, a few lovely dates, and a really transcendent weekend, I'm ready to move from the flirtation stage to the commitment stage. And I am picking the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams to win the NFC and to be a rookie quarterback representative in the Super Bowl.
Wow. This burned hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Since that night at the hotel bar.
I mean, it's so funny. I wasn't even thinking about going to the bar that night. And I just had something told me I needed to.
That's what happened, these meet events.
Exactly right.
Oh, my gosh, Brew.
A whirlwind romance.
That's correct.
And like many whirlwind romances, dare I say most, it's not going to end well, all right? They are not in OT going to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and here's the thing. And I hate to break it to the Bears. They should already know this, but maybe they don't.
Okay.
Nick's married. All right? And here's the thing. Nick doesn't care about the Bears.
What do you
They're second fiddle.
That's true.
The Chiefs, it's all about the Chiefs.
I said go to the NFC.
You dabble every single year. You flirt with somebody that you could take them or leave them. Last year was the Cowboys. Did you really care about the Cowboys? When they fell flat on their face against Green Bay, you didn't care one iota.
But I thought they were going to win the
Because
conference.
your real love is the Chiefs.
So
The
that's
year
who I'm
before
married
that,
to.
you picked the freaking Niners,
The Niners.
with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Trey Lance. Anybody heard anything from Trey Lance? Is he even throwing passes? Has he even beat out Cooper?
They made the NFC
Cooper
title
Rush?
game. That was a good pick.
I mean, so here's he'll pick anybody to go get smashed by his real love, the Chiefs.
Well, what do you want him to do?
Yeah, do you want me to not?
I'm just telling the Bears. Better yet, Bears fans. Don't get all excited. All right? Don't think, Nick's always right about the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's easy for him to pick the Chiefs.
This is Bruce that's really committed to it's easy for Nick to pick the Chiefs because he's from there.
He's just going to pick his hometown team.
It does seem like a coincidence.
Right.
But Brew, all right, whether or not you question my deep founding commitment and love to the Chicago Bears.
You're
a
two-timer.
That's fine. I
What
get
you
the point.
are.
But on its merits, as far as their ability to make the Super Bowl, can I present you with something? May I?
Sure.
So Joe Burrow, in his first full season, made the Super Bowl. Dan Marino.
Was
in
he
his
a rookie?
No, I understand. I'm going to get to that. Dan Marino, in his first full season, it was his second year in the league, but first full season,
How many
made
play
the
his
Super
rookie
Bowl.
year? How many games he played?
I thought they were 9-2. I think his rookie year when he played. So 11. I think that's all. I could be wrong, but his first full season. Patrick Mahomes in his first full season was in overtime of the AFC Championship game. None of those guys started as rookies. Guys that did start as rookies: Big Ben in the AFC title game. Russell Wilson. With a lead in round 2 of the playoffs, the Falcons hit a field goal. Your guy CJ last year was in round 2. Dak was in round 2. Luck and RG3 both made the playoffs and were excellent throughout the year. Purdy made it not his first full season, but as a rookie, NFC Championship game, and in his first full season, made the Super Bowl. Mark Sanchez, Joe Flacco, and Sean King.
I was about to say,
all made conference championship games as rookies. In my opinion, more similar to Caleb's situation as far as the quality of team they were taking over, but Caleb's a better player. At some point, a rookie's going to do it. In the weaker of the two conferences with no overwhelming power, I guess some think San Francisco is. I think we'll see if they keep Ayuk a tough offseason. This, to me, seems like if it's going to happen, it would look a lot like this. A blue chip prospect who was a consensus number 1, who's going to a team that on its own merits didn't have anything close to the number 1 overall pick, but had it via trade, spent money, all those things. Like, if it were going to happen, this is what it would look like.
That's a fair take.
But it's not going to happen. All right, I just don't think Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are going to do something that, as you admit, no one in the history of professional tackle football has ever done, which is a rookie lead a team to a Super Bowl. Beyond that, the history, they're in the toughest division in the NFC. And that's just looking at Green Bay and Detroit.
I agree with that.
Which Minnesota, our colleague Colin Cowherd's a little bit high on the Vikings.
Well,
I'm not that high on the Vikings.
He's a Sam Darnold guy.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm not that high on the Vikings, but I'm just saying they'll be competitive.
Yeah.
So they got a tough road to hoe. Well, I actually do think they'll be competitive. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're the worst team in that division. I think it's either them or the Bears. Because I see no reason to think Green Bay's taking a step backwards unless that 8-9 week stretch by Jordan Love was just a complete mirage. The receivers should be better. The defense should be better. Like, obviously, they have a good coach. Detroit, the kicker, I mean, they got to find. I get kickers are important, but not as important to them as most teams because they like to go for two.
Yep.
And Dan Campbell, I don't think he's going to let up on that team and let them get complacent. Obviously, you got San Francisco. Trent Williams will be back. They know how important Trent Williams is. Ayuk could be gone, and we'll get into that. But and Philadelphia. No, it's how you look at it. See, you're looking at, do the quarterback and coach get along? I'm looking at, is Saquon Barkley going to have a Christian McCaffrey type impact?
Yeah, that's what
I'm looking. It's half empty or half full. I'm half full on the Eagles. So I'm glad y'all had a good weekend. I'm glad now that the secret is out that you actually are in love with the Chiefs, not the Bears. It'd be interesting to see how the Bears
have two loves.
They're not. No, it's one love and a. You get to be the one that gets their heart broken this year.
By the way, it's not predictions week. Who knows who I'm going to pick to win the Super Bowl?
That's true.
We don't, and who even knows if I'm going to pick the Chiefs to make the Super Bowl?
Don't pick the Chiefs.
We're not there yet.
That would open things up for some other people. Don't pick the Chiefs.
Hard Knocks tonight. There was a little preview clip of Nick Saban talking about the weight of expectations that Caleb is carrying. And then when you ran through a lot of your rookie quarterbacks to kind of over-deliver, a lot of those guys had very little expectations. Brock was mystery relevant.
A lot.
Russ wasn't even supposed to be the starter. He kind of came in and still carried.
Luck had pretty high expectations.
But no, Luck. You're talking about the ones that got to the championship.
Ones that got conference championship.
None of them had expectations.
I would make the argument that Caleb, especially in light of this beautiful bouquet, will have the most or have to carry the most weight of these high expectations.
Undoubtedly.
So here's the question to you.
Sure.
He's never played an NFL game. He's got facing a handful of young quarterbacks right away.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden, if it gets to be week, 6 before the bye, and he's lost a few of these, Will Levis, week 1. You could lose that game to Titans. C.J. Stroud, you lose that
Titans
one.
had a good
Anthony Richardson, who you were previously heavily flirting with.
By the way, I like Anthony Richardson.
40-some-odd passes.
Can I respond to what you're... Go ahead. I mean, all right, listen. Yes, if the Bears lose their home game to the Titans, that's probably their, just glancing at it, by point spread, I would guess, Vegas says it's their second easiest game on the schedule. That would be a problem. I agree.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't look at it as the pressure based on he's facing other young quarterbacks. I look at it based on, is he facing great defenses?
I don't want to, and I buy that. Just let me make this pressure thing, and I think this has been overdone. But it's also like, let's not pretend that it didn't happen. When he loses big games at USC, he didn't necessarily handle those perfectly. If he's in the crowd, kind of like having a emotional moment, it should like, you know what? I don't know if resilience in the face of high expectations are there. And if he loses a handful of games back to back to back, what's going on? We're supposed to go to the Super Bowl, and now we're losing to Bryce Young? And Bryce Young's guess what? I already went through this, and now I'm on the second go-round.
Okay, so two things. One is, I understand, that I do have some level of impact in sports media. I don't think it's going to all of a sudden be
after tonight. There's going to be
I think more, but now I've locked them down. I think there will be fewer because they'll understand.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it's all of a sudden going to be a wildly trendy pick. That's first of all. Second of all, let me show the schedule one more time before we move on. What you're saying is true. I just don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, Wilds, if in the first 5 weeks of the season, the Bears have lost at home to the Titans and at home to the Panthers, they're not going to the Super Bowl. I agree with that take. I think that's what you just said was...
Already. Week 5 out of here.
Yeah, if you lose...